I'm back. And this shot really doesn't have anything to do with what I'm gonna talk about or anything. It's just kind of a neat shot of one of the sculptures in No Name's tank. Zoomed up on it like this, it looks like we're about to walk into some old medieval castle. And I just thought that was kind of neat. But what I was going to talk about is I have actually got my first video shout out for this channel, I guess you can call it. And that's really cool. I did a backflip and broke my back, but no, I didn't. But it was worth it. So, Rick gave me a shout out. Rick L. You all know who he is, or at least most of you do. You're his subscribers. But anyway, he gave me a shout out on his last video about Phalaenopsis spikes. He talked about this fish tank and the Phalaenopsis I have sitting on top of it. They're not really in the tank. It's not quite a aquaponics system, but they do get all of their nutrients from the tank. Every watering is from the tank. All of the nutrients come from the tank. Now, I add some nutrients to the tank that the fish don't produce in his way of living. But I'm not going to talk about the main food that I add to the tank just yet, because I want people to get an idea of the results. Because, well, when I tell you what I add to the tank, you're going to think, what? You want to kill your plants? No. I've already added it to the tank. I add it next year. I believe there will be 4 supplements during the year. This last year there was 3. Yeah. Not very often do I add, I guess I'm going to call it fertilizer to the tank. Not really fertilizer. Not by definition. But anyway, I will talk about the spikes because, you know, that's what he talked about, so I'll give my take on it. And I kind of realized after I hit the record button, now I'm realizing this might have to be 2 parts because I'm already at 4 minutes of rambling. But I realized that it kind of looks like I'm going to be showing how I do this with fish. And maybe Rick is going to adapt it to a way of doing it basically with commercial fertilizers, which I don't really use. I did not have luck with them. I don't use them. So I'm doing it with fish, and if Rick can adapt it to supplements and things that are normally used in the orchid world, I guess I will say, then that would be kind of neat, because not everybody wants to keep fish just to keep Phalaenopsis. I think most people would probably rather not keep Phalaenopsis than get a big 55-gallon fish tank with an Oscar in it. And really I need to upgrade to an even bigger tank. No, I don't think orchid growers necessarily want to do that. So, if Rick can kind of adapt my tactic to a way of doing the same thing, only without the fish, sounds like a great idea to me. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what Rick thinks. But I'm already past 5 minutes, so let me pause this so that I can get to the same two Phalaenopsis that I've filmed virtually every time. It's kind of sad, but I don't have very many orchids, let alone Phalaenopsis. Be right back. Okay, so why am I filming a dead spike that I had stuck back in the pot or beside the pot? Well, I thought I would give you an entire history of these two Phalaenopsis spikes when I got them. This one, and of course, move over slowly, this one. And it too has a dead spike stuck in its pot. And what that is the first spike this plant ever grew. Well, it didn't even really grow the spike. It came with this spike. Or the one on the other one. I might have the two spikes mixed up, but you know, I didn't even really plan on keeping these two spikes, never mind putting them in a YouTube video. There's a bit of luck that this video can be so complete, I guess. So this is the spike, I think, that came with it. It was staked in the traditional way. The stores don't do this natural arc thing that I have managed to grow once. I've actually got different stills, different stages of the stills of this growing on my Facebook page. If anybody's interested in going to my Facebook page to see the stills, you know, let me know and maybe I'll link my Facebook page to this. But when it came from the store, like I said, had this tan spike on it, but it didn't have that branch. And there's actually, yeah, there's actually two branches. That second one is broken. This dried up spike is about a year old. Hang on. So the spike is about a year old. I took pretty good care of it, I would say. But when it grew, initially, I guess the nursery, they staked it up, of course, because that's the traditional way of growing. And it came with just the traditional, like this one, only staked, with an arching set of blooms. It had, I don't know, it might have only had 7 or 8 blooms at that time. Now it's got 9. With this extension, it's going to have, well, even in the video you can see 4 more, can't you? So, it did that. It had its main, or first flush, and I decided to leave it alone. Not cut it at all. Nowhere. And it grew these 2 new little branches. And each one of them had, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like about 7 on the one that's still complete. Probably, you know, a few on that one that's broken. I don't know, I can't count. It's broken. Hello. Hello, Mr. Spider. So that's what it did. It grew 2 side branches. Over here, same thing. It had its main flush of flowers. It was staked like traditional. And after that first flush of flowers died back, I decided not to do anything. It was green still. And this one, you know, it either belongs to this plant or the other plant that I just filmed. Don't know if I got the spikes backwards or not. You know, like I said, you know, is it that big a deal? This one, though, it decided to send out 3 side shoots. And each one had a number of blooms ranging from, it looks like 4 or 5 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on this one that shoots out this way. I'm just counting the dried up nodes. So that was quite a spectacular bloom. And then after they sent out the branches, of course the blooms died and nothing happened for a 3rd flush. The stem decided to turn this tan color, and when it did, I cut it off at the base. Can't really, yeah, maybe you can distinguish where it got cut off. I know you can on this one over here. You can kind of see that tan bit sticking up there. Yeah, cut it off. So the next year, I'm going to stay over here since I'm already over here. This one grew. And it grew, and I tried to stake it, but it kind of leaned over and got this shape. The spike was leaning despite the stake, and I ended up with this. On this spike, obviously it is still green. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and it kind of wanted to extend or something, but never did. And it didn't send out any branches or anything. It's just still green. It's been doing that ever since last winter. The spike is about a year old. It got those 3 nutrient doses I talked about. And it's still around. Probably in part because of, like Rick said in his video, high phosphates. And he was right about very little ammonia and very little nitrite. There's another video showing that it's actually on a betta tank, but the readings are virtually the same for this tank. All 3 of my tanks are kind of in the same spot right now. So very little ammonia, very little nitrite, but high nitrate. Okay, you need 3 different tests for that. Obviously your pH pin and TDS meter ain't going to give you those readings. Well, they kind of do. It's